Back in 2017, when I first visited Vilnius as a tourist, I stumbled upon an old building sitting atop a hill. Later, I learned it was the former trade union chamber. At the time, it appeared abandoned, worn down, and covered in graffiti. There was a parking lot in front of it, which gave the impression of a popular spot where people might park their cars at night to enjoy the view, or maybe even for other, more romantic reasons. Not long after, the building was fenced off and eventually demolished, leaving only rubble before the site was cleared. At the time, I didn't mind too much, since the surrounding park area remained open to the public. But that didn't last either. The entire area, known as Taurus Hill or Taurų kalnas, is now being redeveloped to house Lithuania's National Concert Hall. The design for the new structure has already been chosen, though it will still take a few years before the project is completed. In today's video, I'll be diving into the plans for this ambitious project, what the new building will look like, a closer look at some of the 200+ design submissions, and an update on where things stand. Let's get started! According to the official promotional materials, the National Concert Hall will serve as a premier cultural venue in Vilnius, specifically designed for world-class classical music performances. The 20,000 square meter complex will also host exhibitions, conferences, and other events. The project will seamlessly blend green spaces into the design and feature a pedestrian overpass to connect the old and new parts of the city. Before diving into the winning design, I want to showcase some of the other architectural submissions, especially the more unusual, extravagant, or outright beautiful ones. The international competition drew significant interest, with firms from countries like the US, Japan, Germany, the UK, New Zealand, Finland, China, Brazil, and many more submitting ideas. Lithuania itself had 21 architectural teams participate. Some designs incorporated the original trade union chamber building, while others opted to replace it entirely. Now, I'd love to hear your opinions on these designs, so make sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start with a few submissions I liked the least. Most of these rely heavily on gray concrete, which I find unappealing. Some of the designs fall into the category of brutalist architecture. Minimalist, stark, and likely budget-friendly concepts intended to be built quickly without major cost overruns. However, a few of them give off a distinctly Soviet vibe. It makes me wonder if certain architects, upon learning about Lithuania's Soviet past, decided to reference that era in their designs. At least, I hope that wasn't the intention, but some of these entries definitely feel reminiscent of Soviet-style buildings. Take this tent-like structure, for example. It seems far too small for its purpose. Or this step design, which reminds me of Tallinn's Linna Hall. What do you think? And then there's this one, which is just wild. Speaking of wild, let's look at other unconventional submissions. This one, for instance, appears to be inspired by organ pipes. There's plenty more to explore, but those are just a few highlights from the competition. Help but wonder if an all-red building could actually look appealing. It would definitely grab attention on a skyline and even on Google Maps. One of the designs features outdoor escalators, but in Lithuania's climate, that doesn't seem like the most practical idea. As I kept looking through the designs, I came across even more unusual shapes. Some of these seem like they're incredibly expensive to construct. When I see designs I'm not a fan of, it makes me realize just how crucial it is to choose the right conceptual art. Some of the renders I came across were very low quality. Others were shown with gray skies, no people, which made the buildings feel lifeless, pressing, especially during Lithuania's long gray months from October to March. Maybe that's just my perspective, and I hope no architects are offended by my opinion. On the other hand, I noticed that designs featuring people in their renders felt much more vibrant and alive. Ultimately, these are meant to be public spaces, where people might gather and spend their leisure time. So it's important to consider how the structure and its surroundings could accommodate public enjoyment. Some designs seemed sparse when it came to outdoor public spaces, but there was one with a textured exterior that I really like. It also had outdoor escalators, but I appreciated its broader concept and how it visualized the public space. There was another design I could have added to the weird category, but it stood out in a good way. Maybe it was the quality of the render or the sunlight in the image, but I found it pretty cool. There were so many designs, but those were the ones that left an impression on me. After reviewing all the submissions, 4 designs were chosen as winners. Each of them was turned into a physical model, which I imagine helped give a full perspective of their potential. In 4th place was a design by Smart Architecture Studio from Australia. It resembled a glass shoebox, a simple shape that might speed up construction, but to me felt a bit too plain. Taking 3rd place was a design by Lithuania's Palico Arc Studio. This one also had a fairly simple structure, but the added columns gave it a bit more character than the fourth place design. Second place went to French firm Fraise Architects and Planners. Their design was another transparent structure, but with a more unconventional thought was interesting. They also included an interior render of the Grand Hall, imagined as a fully wooden space. It looked stunning in my opinion. Finally, the winning design was announced on September 19th. Out of nearly 250 submissions, the top prize went to Spanish Team Archivo Architects, who received $60,000 for their concept. Their design consists of at least 3 separate buildings, which integrate into the surrounding environment as seamlessly as possible. According to Vilnius officials, the structures are connected by an open ground floor that creates a green corridor, and the design includes both a grand and a small concert hall. Representing the Archivo team, Daniel Friel described the achievement as a gift to Vilnius and the entire country. The jury highlighted that the winning design excels in how it thoughtfully integrates the building into its surroundings, creating a connection between the old cemetery and Taurus Hill. According to the official announcement, the design capitalizes on the hilltop's panoramic views of the city and river, while the new squares and spaces within the design establish a clear and meaningful relationship between the city and the building's interior. Additionally, the interior public areas are designed to be open and inviting, encouraging interaction among residents and visitors alike, a feature greatly valued by the people of Vilnius. Now, let's get into the building's features. The project includes a main hall with seating for approximately 1,600 people, a smaller hall accommodating about 500, and a third multi-purpose hall designated for educational events and activities, with a capacity of up to 220. Furthermore, a fourth hall is planned specifically for the resident orchestra, primarily for rehearsals. A 2020 government statement also revealed that the design would include cafes, a spacious lobby offering city views, and facilities to host various cultural events. Back in 2019, the estimated cost for the design, construction, and associated works was set at 52 million euros, encompassing everything from the building itself to landscaping. It was also noted that the landscaping projects, funded partly by EU support, had a budget of about 14 million euros. However, as these estimates were made before the pandemic, delays and cost adjustments were inevitable. A 2022 press release targeted project completion by 2026, but a 2023 report from LRT pushed the date to 2030. More recently, though, a new update announced that construction had officially begun, with the National Concert Hall now expected to open in 2028. The current total estimated cost has risen significantly to 121 million euros, far exceeding earlier projections. That said, it's worth noting that large projects often face delays, so even the 2028 timeline might shift. Interestingly, the latest press release emphasizes a focus on sustainability, with plans to preserve existing trees and plant 113 new ones, along with 4,500 perennial flowers and 2,500 shrubs. The design also incorporates green roofs and eco-friendly features to blend the venue naturally into its surroundings while respecting the historical and environmental importance of Taurus Hill. Here's a look at some photos from the groundbreaking ceremony, which was attended by the mayor, along with a few updated renders of the completed site. Personally, as someone living in Vilnius, I'm eager to see the hill restored as a viewpoint. The updated design also appears to retain much of the open grassy area below the building, which families have traditionally enjoyed for activities like sledding during winter. Once the hall opens, I'll definitely visit and share my first impressions in a video, but for now, it's still a few years away. So what's your take on the winning design? How do you feel about the other finalists and proposals? Are you excited about the National Concert Hall coming to Vilnius? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy my content and want to support the channel, just liking and commenting is more than enough. See you next time.